Muse? I think Muse would be good.
Muse would be great.
And they would probably do it.
That's actually a good... Yeah,
Muse would be
that's
sweet.
Good. Muse
they
would
put
be
on
good.
an awesome live show. They got lasers at every show. It's crazy times.
Yeah, they have all that.
I saw them live on the on one of 2 tours ago, and they were amazing.
Muse would be good. I think Guns N' Roses. That's who it is. Guns N'
Now?
Roses.
Guns N' Roses now?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Guns N' Roses. That's who it's got to be.
Yeah, you're just excited about that show you saw.
I still am. I'm never going to give that up.
All
right. Hello. This is Between the Streams. This is our weekly show here at Digital Trends where we talk about movies and television and anything associated with it. We're going live on YouTube right now. We're also an audio podcast. You can always subscribe to that. What are you doing there?
I turned it off. I tried to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It was going. I tried to help.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep on going then. That's why we're live. So live here on YouTube and also, like I said, as a podcast. So if you're watching live, we would definitely like to hear your commentary, hear what you think about everything we're going to talk about. We've got so many different things to get to, everything from the new Dune series that's going to be happening. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. And let's go ahead and get in right now. Maybe talk about do you want to talk about the weekend box office?
Sure.
Get going on that. Let's just get our quick preview of the weekend box office up, and then we'll go through and talk about some other topics. So go ahead and jump in there into the chat. I'm Greg Nibbler.
I'm Ryan Juanita.
Okay, so the weekend box office, we've got 2 movies. 2 movies?
I mean, there's more than that, but I highlighted 2.
Highlighted 2 movies. Okay, one of which we did talk briefly about last week, and it is the continuation of Rings.
Yeah.
The Ring.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. I think the original one came out in like 2003 or something, and it was back when streaming wasn't really a thing, and the idea was, and it was based off a Japanese movie, and the idea is you watch this movie, 7 days later you die, and all this crazy creepy stuff happens, and there's a girl with the hair, and
isn't that the one that's
horrifying?
7 days? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right.
So that was the original, and now, they've run out of ideas, of course, as always, so now they're bringing it back around, and this time it's called Rings.
Ooh.
And this appears to be a point of, like, bringing it up a notch. At one point in the trailer, they show the movie showing up on an airplane, all the screens on the airplane.
Oh, so they all
that
see
means
it.
every one of those people on the airplane is going to die.
Okay.
It almost looks like what they're going to try to do is make it so the movie gets out, like, into the
goes
internet.
viral?
And, yeah, it goes viral, exactly.
Okay.
So then, like, maybe it's an apocalypse type situation. It's hard to say.
Okay. Well, I mean,
that's what it looks like.
I like the original Ring, The Ring, and The Ring 2, which was actually filmed here in Oregon. Part of that one was.
Yeah, and the director for the second one was actually the director of the original, the Japanese one.
Okay. So so it all kind of ties in. If you're looking for a good horror movie, that might be a good choice. So we've got Rings, which is out this weekend.
Yeah, and they've got Vince D'Onofrio, Johnny Galecki is in it from
Johnny Galecki.
Yeah, from the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
It's got a bunch of like interesting stars. Laura Wiggins from Shameless is in it.
Okay. Vincent D'Onofrio, I'm always in for.
It looks like he plays like some kind of blind like wise man that like tries to help them out.
Sounds perfect. That sounds right. Anything he's in, I will give it a chance.
Yeah. And then the other one you're probably going to hear about, which is a really interesting premise, is The Space Between Us.
And I've seen the trailers for this.
Yeah. It's a real heartwarmer.
Real heartwarmer. Yeah, it's kind of like a romantic comedy.
No, it's not a comedy. It's like a romantic drama. Oh, absolutely not. It's Gary Oldman is like the best thing it's got going for it. But the bottom line is, it's like from what I can see, it looks like a cross between The Fault in Our Stars and like a Mission to Mars style movie. The idea is this kid is sort of stowed away inside his mother's stomach. She doesn't know she's pregnant, I don't think, and he is born on Mars.
Then this is with humans set in the future. Humans have already colonized
maybe
Mars.
a little bit into the future, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's born on Mars, and so he lives on Mars for like 15 years and has never been to Earth. And then he comes to Earth, but unfortunately his organs don't work right on Earth, but he wants to find his dad, and he finds this nice young girl, and she helps him out, and they go on a road trip together.
Okay.
So like it starts out like a sci-fi movie, and then it turns into this like, coming-of-age teen dramedy or something.
It's probably not going to be right up my alley, but if that's something that you're interested in,
folks, we're in the middle of the worst movie season.
I mean,
it's tough out there right now.
Well, and that's why we're going to get into some television stuff and some reboots, remakes that are going to be happening too that are a little more exciting. Although, I mean, the cast is good. Like you said, Gary Oldman, Britt Robertson.
She was in Tomorrowland, and I really liked Tomorrowland. It kind of didn't get a very good go of it, I think. The reviews were kind of mixed, but I enjoyed it.
Well, and she's one of those actresses that you've probably seen pop up in something.
Yeah.
Like, she always plays a really young Like she's playing, I think, a teenager basically in this.
I feel like she's playing the same age
30.
that she did in Tomorrowland.
Yeah, and
I don't know how old
same
she
age
is.
she played in Life Unexpected, which was a series for a couple of seasons on the CW. It's a radio thing that was supposed to take place in Portland. So she's been in a bunch of different things. She's also, though, about to star in her own Netflix series. So you're going to see more of her soon.
What's that? What series?
It's called Girl Boss, and it's based on a book.
Okay.
But she's playing the lead character, Sophia, and I'm forgetting her name. It's an actual person, but it's based on this woman's real life. And so I think you're going to see a lot more of Britt Robertson pretty soon. You'll see her pop up.
Forever young. The forever young Britt Robertson.
Yeah, right? Good genes, I guess.
I guess so.
All right, let's get into some of the other things that we've got to get here today. And again, we're live on YouTube, so we want to hear your comments. I noticed some people still chatting about a discussion we had about who is the best Super Bowl performance of all time, just to call it out. Drew says, not a huge U2 fan, but they were the best suggestion, in my opinion, as far as a performance.
Yeah, and for those who didn't catch the Facebook Live, I'm adamant about Prince.
Yes, Ryan believes that
his
Prince
guitar
was the
solo
greatest.
During Purple Rain, in which it actually rained. It's like the hand of God came down and said Prince is the best.
Let's see, real quick. Another quick question here, comment coming in from YouTube, live on YouTube. Vivek says, just wait till March. It's going to be movie season. Logan, Beauty and the Beast, and probably some other ones.
It's all coming out.
Well.
Lego Batman is coming soon enough.
Yeah.
I think that's out in a couple of weeks. So we have good stuff coming down the road. It's just kind of the doldrums right now. It's just the way it is.
There is a lot of news coming out about, well, as usual, reboots and remakes. That's what everything that Hollywood does right now, if it's not a comic book movie or Star Wars.
It's true.
Reboots and remakes.
Yeah.
Now, we do have some news on a remake that I am adamantly opposed to, that I really don't want to see happen.
I understand why you would be that way, but I have a reason why it's not such a bad idea.
Okay.
But yeah, say your thing. Say your piece.
Well, so the remake that I guess is it's actually going to be happening.
Yep.
Is for Scarface.
Right.
Scarface. Al Pacino, Scarface, iconic movie. There is no question like that. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I was the guy in college that had a poster of Scarface on the wall. Yes, I did. And I was not the only one. But now they are talking about remaking Scarface. Why, I do not know. How you would do this, I do not know. And the star, though, would be Diego Luna. And Diego Luna from Star Wars, if you just saw the new Rogue One, obviously in that. He's been in a lot of other things, too, but I think probably that's what he's most famous for right now.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
He kind of came of age in Y Tu Mama También, which is like a very famous like sort of coming of age story. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's where he got his first like taste of fame there. So.
Okay, well, Diego Luna going to play supposedly the Al Pacino character. Tony Montana.
And in this time they're going to switch it up, and he's going to be a Mexican immigrant, I believe, who becomes a boss. So here's the thing that you may not know, and a lot of people may not know, is Scarface itself is a reboot. Brian De Palma's Scarface is a reboot. It was a 1930s movie.
Okay,
it was originally supposed to be about Al Capone, and it was originally a story about, I believe, an Italian gangster, an Al Capone type.
Which is why it's Scarface, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that movie was then rebooted in the lavish Brian De Palma style in the 80s for the movie that you and bros everywhere know and love. And I love Scarface too, don't get me wrong.
It's a good movie.
But I'm just saying, if it's already a retread story, then it's ripe for anyone to do justice with it.
I think if you're remaking a movie from the 1930s, though, 50 years later, I think you're all right.
This is 35 years later, 40 years later.
Another 15 years then they get to do it. That's in my book. Courtney says, "Get off my lawn."
Well, exactly.
Quoting me.
The one thing is that this movie lost their director in Antoine Fuqua, who is a great director. For those who don't know, he did Training Day. He also did The Equalizer, both excellent Denzel Washington films. He dropped out, but not because of like creative differences or stuff like that. He dropped out because
it's a bad idea.
The Equalizer 2 got, supposedly because The Equalizer 2 got quickly, it went faster than they thought it was because Denzel wanted to jump on it quick. So he's doing The Equalizer 2 instead of this film.
Drew is saying Scarface reboot is so bold. Vivek says, no, I'm with you. Yeah. I agree completely. Also said, until you mentioned Mexican immigrant, I was thinking the new guy doesn't look the part as far as, I guess, playing the Cuban.
They're changing the story again.
Although
just
Al
like the
Pacino's
original.
Italian.
The original was not Cuban. That was another changing of the story.
Okay. I mean, look, no. I can't get behind it.
So upset.
I cannot get behind it.
Hey, man, we are in reboot culture.
Yep, and I'm going to stand firmly yelling with my sign on my lawn. All right, well, another one that's getting remade, and actually this one I kind of am I think could be an exciting
I'm
remake.
super stoked for this.
Is Dune, the classic Dune science fiction novel and movies and a film or a film and then television series that they had.
Yeah.
TV series wasn't that great, but the film, it's classic. And
I'm
now,
not really a fan of the film.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk
But
about that.
the problem is I'm not a fan of David Lynch. So if you don't like David Lynch, you're not going to dig the film. Which our own editor-in-chief, Jeremy Kaplan, is a huge David Lynch fan, which is funny because
that is funny.
We agree on a lot of things, but I do not like David Lynch. I feel like he gets weird for weird's sake. He has made some very good movies, but the majority of what he's made, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a hater. It's just not my style, man.
I'm not a hater. It's just not my style.
Yeah, and Sting, I gotta say, is not a great actor. So I don't know. The original movie, I watched it when I was young, and maybe I just didn't get it, but it didn't hit home for me. It's not a classic to me. Well, I mean, I understand that it is a classic to many people, but it's not in my
yours
repertoire, as it were.
I think a remake of this could actually go really, really well.
Well, what's exciting is it's Denis Villeneuve.
It's not David Lynch.
Yeah, and it's Denis Villeneuve who just did Arrival. He did Sicario. He did Prisoners. He makes awesome movies. And when he touches a sci-fi movie, so far, we've really enjoyed the results.
So far, so good.
You know, his new version of Blade Runner looks amazing. Blade Runner 2049 looks like it's going to be amazing. So this is really exciting. Plus, the author of Dune, his son, Brian Herbert, is all about this remake. I mean, of course, maybe he has monetary reasons for that, but I think that there's a lot of good things that could come out of this if they do it right.
If it's done right.
And this director, as far as we've seen so far, always does it right.
And you're right. Yeah, he has been pretty amazing.
Interestingly enough, some people think that this is an unadaptable novel, Dune, because it's got such a deep tapestry of like politics and all these different elements inside.
It does. I mean, that's I would think would turn into a series of films if they actually got it off. But and people are really passionate about it.
And the studio also got the TV rights, so what we could see is some sort of
whole Dune universe,
some sort of the Dark Tower situation in which they're doing like a TV thing that then like rolls into maybe a Showtime or HBO series. Like we don't know because the studio bought the movie and TV rights.
Drew says, super classic. I'd sit and watch all the new remakes just so that I could see if they did it right.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people, again, say it can't be adapted, but I think if anybody could, it's Villeneuve. He can do it.
Okay, so Dune getting a remake. We'll see how it works out.
We'll find out.
All right. Vivek, we're actually going to get to that topic that you brought up there in just a couple of seconds. Before we do, though, we do have some DC Universe things to bring up because, like we said, it's either a reboot or remake or it's a comic book movie or it's Star Wars.
And that's all they make.
So Aquaman, we're finding out more and more about Aquaman, which, Aquaman, the comic book character, is kind of lackluster. I always liked him.
The outfit's not great. The outfit's not great.
Control fish, big deal. And then you just step out of the water.
And it was we've talked about this, but it was always the joke in Entourage. It's like, Vinny being Aquaman. It's like they'll never make a real movie out of Aquaman. There's no way. I mean, Spider-Man's one thing, and here we are.
Yep, and here we are. Aquaman. Well, I think a big part of it is they have Jason Momoa on, so they know they're going to sell some tickets.
I think that's true, and I think the Justice League intro will help this movie a lot if the Justice League film is
that ever
any
happens.
Good. Oh, it's going to happen. It's in November, but we'll see if it's any good.
Well, the news is, of course, like I said, we know Jason Momoa is playing Aquaman. We've already seen him as that. But now they're filling out the cast.
Right.
And we found out for Aquaman's mother may finally be cast. Lantera. I'm going to get the name right. You go ahead and talk about her for just a second. I'm going to make sure I've got this. Atlanta.
Atlanta.
There it is.
I was like,
sorry.
where are you coming?
I apologize. I had it witten down. I'm like, did I write that right?
I was like, did I write it wrong? No, Atlanta, I thought it was.
I thought I had it right.
I got to admit, I'm not super deep into the Aquaman history, but apparently she was, the queen of Atlantis, or maybe she was just an Atlantean.
She was a scientist on the original Atlantis continent.
Okay, there you go. And she escaped when it sunk.
Yes.
And fell in love with a lighthouse keeper, and then you got Aquaman.
Yeah.
So,
and
okay.
Then magic.
And then magical Aquaman.
And
but the interesting thing about Nicole Kidman being the choice is that she is 12 years older than Jason Momoa. He's 37. She's 49.
Well,
so
let's be honest. Nicole Kidman is looking a little older now.
I don't know. I think she looks great.
But also, though, part of
they
what
don't
it is,
age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's
they
supposed
don't
to be
age very
centuries
well.
old.
Yeah, I mean, they age very well. Yeah, exactly. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny that it's like, I don't know, 12 years older actress, but whatever. And then they also cast this actor from The Get Down, and I am going to...
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
That sounded good. That's what I was going to say, too. I thought I might butcher it, but...
I probably did.
He may be playing Black Manta. These are both rumored, but fairly substantiated rumors at this point. And Black Manta is, a bad guy for Aquaman.
Yeah, and Black Manta is actually a pretty cool character. I'm kind of glad they're going to bring him on. Basically... depending on how they change it up,
that is a sweet outfit.
The outfit
for those who are
awesome.
watching the video, his the comic book outfit looks awesome.
And the story is basically this guy was kidnapped as a kid and taken out to sea, and like terrible things happened to him. And at one point, he was looking to be rescued, and he saw Aquaman like swim by or something, or saw Aquaman and tried to
and Aquaman
wave
just
him down.
left him there.
And Aquaman's like, nope, never mind.
I didn't hear.
Yeah,
I didn't hear you.
Aquaman claimed he didn't hear, so Black Manta.
Aquaman had a lot to do that day.
Yeah, and so now
there was a beached whale.
So now he hates the sea, and he made this sea suit so he can go fight Aquaman.
Well, that's unfortunate.
So there we go. So
it's so many angsty villains.
Yeah.
Why so much angst?
Well, you got to be angsty. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of the only way to go. Unless you go to Lex Luthor way. That's it.
Yeah, that's
World
true.
domination or, I'm whining and mad.
You're kind of right.
Black Manta, whiner of the sea.
And as we also know, for those who haven't heard, Amber Heard is playing Queen Mara.
Okay.
In Aquaman as well. So,
all right.
The cast is filling out. We'll see how it works.
So we'll find out some more about that.
I believe this movie's coming out in 2019.
Yeah, they keep pushing them back.
Yeah, don't quote me on that right now.
And that's why something else to talk about with the DC universe is the Batman solo film, which Ben Affleck has promised that there's going to be a Batman solo film.
He was going to write it. He was going to direct it. He was going to light it himself. I heard he was going to build the sets. He's going to star in it.
He wrote the score.
He was going to cast it with his buddies. Matt Damon was going to be in it.
He's playing Catwoman. So, yeah.
No, but he was going to write, direct, and star, and apparently he's decided that's going to be a little tough. So he has dropped out as the director. So essentially right now we're missing a director. That's the bottom line.
Is anybody really looking forward to the Ben Affleck solo Batman film?
Honestly, I thought he was pretty good at Batman, and for DC, I thought this was one of the more promising stories. I mean, we've had a lot of Batman. It's not like we need another Batman movie, but given that I detested Batman versus Superman and, only slightly, was less excited about Suicide Squad, or slightly more excited about Suicide Squad, I feel like this might be one that could be okay, especially because I kind of trust Affleck now as a director. Although Live by Night did not come out so great.
Still haven't seen that.
Yeah, but it got
Argo
like a 22% in this, in the reviews as far as Rotten Tomatoes. So
that's true.
Some people were asking, like, is it because that movie sucked so hard that he got fired as the director? But I think honestly, he just decided it was going to be too much work.
Yeah, didn't want to screw it up.
Yeah.
So all right, I'll give him credit.
He's co-writing the script. He's doing a lot of work on this movie, so we'll see.
Vivek on YouTube, because we are live on YouTube, as I said, also as a podcast. Said I'm more of a Marvel guy, but the Comic-Con teaser of Justice League has got me hooked. That did look good.
I thought it looked sweet.
And also said watching you guys talk reminds me that I have a lot to learn about DC Comics. I think we all do.
It's so deep.
We all do.
I mean, Marvel and DC, but yeah, DC goes really deep. Like the whole Captain Marvel thing and everything. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
Well, let's go to something with Marvel, and they've got some television shows so far. This is the first time we're getting in. Well, I believe the first X-Men television series, at least in this newer.
Let's call it the first, and then if we're wrong, we'll talk about that later.
Sure. I know there's another one coming.
I am excited about this one for one reason, really, and that's Noah Hawley.
So Noah Hawley, Fargo
creator, the TV series.
The TV series.
But here's a guy that is so ballsy. He decides to take a TV series about one of the greatest movies, of its time from the Coen brothers. And it's such a stupid idea. You're on the face of it, you're like, this could never work. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
And he brings it to the Coen brothers, and they're like, this script is brilliant. We love this.
For Fargo.
And then he makes this original story that has this tacit connection to the original movie, and it becomes this brilliant TV series. Now, this guy is creating Legion, is the FX series.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I couldn't ask for a better, show creator. So
that's a
I'm
pretty
excited
ringing
about that.
endorsement. So Legion,
I think Fargo is one of the more brilliant TV series that's come out in the last few years. So
okay,
and there's been a lot of TV that came out.
I've actually got it. That's so funny. I posted something on Twitter asking if I should start watching Fargo.
Absolutely,
yesterday. Okay,
you should.
all right. So I guess I'll need to do that.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm excited to watch Legion, and
so
it debuts on February 8th.
So as for Legion, this stars basically it's the son of Professor X.
Yeah.
And he has psychological problems, but he's also like one of the most powerful mutants that they've ever discovered.
Well, and that's the interesting thing about it. So basically, he thinks he's just got mental issues. He's a diagnosed schizophrenic, I think is what it was. Yeah, diagnosed with schizophrenia at a young age. Doesn't necessarily realize that what he's doing is actually happening. So he has these superpowers.
But
and
doesn't
he's
he also
the
have
world.
like mental issues on top of that? Or
Well,
is
he's
it just
schizophrenic.
Okay, he really is
No,
schizophrenic.
he's schizophrenic,
But then
yeah.
it's like all mixed up with
But
the
he has
telekinesis that is
superpowers.
real.
Yeah, and so
that's a
he
confusing
doesn't know
situation for the
what's
poor
just
guy.
in his head
Right.
and what is actually all these incredible powers that he actually has.
Yeah.
And I think there might be something with different personalities. It kind of depends on how they do it, different personas that he has.
And from what we've seen so far, Dan Stevens, who I believe is in the Downton Abbey series originally, is where he like kind of went to fame.
Another one I haven't watched.
He looks like he's just killing it. Like from
Yeah.
all the trailers we've seen, it just looks like he's doing a great job of playing this troubled mutant.
Yes, a troubled mutant.
A troubled mutant.
Troubled mutant
And of
encounters.
course, Aubrey Plaza's in it. I love her. She's from Parks
Yeah.
and Rec. She's
Yep.
fantastic. So this could be really interesting.
Troubled mutant.
A troubled mutant.
You've been writing all kinds of just taglines for shows today.
Hey, what can I do? What can I say?
Troubled mutant encounters problems, finds love.
Finds love? We don't know.
So Legion.
Moves a lot of crap around with his brain?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We
you
do
had
know.
it. Yeah. There, the first part.
All right, well.
So Legion debuting on February 8th. February 8th on FX. So you can check that out there.
I'm going to check that out.
A couple more rumors and some changes, and then we've got a review of The Young Pope, and then just we've got Between the Cracks. So a couple of things we got to get through here. But
People that don't know what that is, they're probably like Between the Cracks.
got to stay to find out.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Stay tuned for 8 more minutes, and you'll see Between the Cracks.
All right, then.
All right, Doctor Who news.
Who's cracks? Okay.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Yeah, so Doctor Who is losing another Time Lord. Peter Capaldi is dropping out.
I
after
have
3 years on the job.
a confession to make.
Yes.
I have never seen a single episode of Doctor Who.
And, as
any
much as I
iteration-
want to give you trouble about that, I think you're far from alone. I've talked to a lot of people who haven't seen Doctor Who.
I know it's been on for as long as television's been around.
I mean, it's it's much more of a British thing, but, super sci-fi nuts, it has a huge cult following.
Yeah.
It's got 2 iterations. It's the 69 through 83 version, which is just
You have to say that in
weird.
your nerd voice.
69 through 83 version, it was much less sophisticated.
But that one's really fun to watch if you're sitting at home and maybe you're bored.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it pops on one of those like weird antenna TV channels, and it's like kind of comes in crappy, and it looks like somebody made it in their basement with a crappy camera, but it's fun. But the new one, of course, is like a different version. It was revamped in 2005, and so far I guess it's had 4 different people playing the Time Lord. For those who don't know the basic story, the basic story is he's this intergalactical being that is powerful, and he helps protect the Earth. He's got this really cool spaceship /
That's the TARDIS, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The TARDIS, and
It's a phone booth?
It's supposed to be able to turn into anything, but it's broken. So it can only turn into old-timey phone booths, and that becomes more and more of a joke as it goes on because nobody has phone booths anymore, so that's part of the joke.
Okay.
A lot of people think that David Tennant, who is the bad guy from Jessica Jones, was the best modern Time Lord.
So they've switched
They
out
switch it up
actors.
because he is a being that can take multiple forms.
And the Time Lord is Doctor Who?
Yes. Well, he's just known as the Doctor.
The Doctor.
Yes.
Okay. It's being noted here. We need to be really careful here because fanboys are going to destroy me. And I'm just trying to learn. Because I think there's other people like me who don't know.
Yeah. And it's okay not to know stuff, man. You got to learn somewhere. It's a really fun show. It's a fun thing because you can just jump into it because it's not really it's chronological, of course, but it's like story by story.
So there's so many different versions. Yeah, if I wanted to start watching Doctor Who,
I would probably jump into the
where do
first. I would probably jump into the first one.
like the 69 through 80?
No, the 2005.
2005.
Yeah, the first one of the reboot. Yeah.
So start in 2005
Yeah,
and
with
then
Christopher
see if
Eccleston.
I'm into it and go from there.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. It's kind of got some cheesy CGI in the first seasons, but it's just really fun. It's got it definitely has a little bit of a Twilight Zone feel to it, just as it goes through all these
like
different
that.
adventures. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really fun show for those that don't know.
All right.
And for those, who are super fanboys, give them a break.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to find out. That's
Yeah.
all it is. Because having never watched it at all and knowing...
We can't watch it all, folks. We try, but we can't watch it all.
It's just one I've never seen.
So much out there.
But that's good. Yes, and actually, if you're listening via the podcast or watching on YouTube and you have you're a Doctor Who fan, tell me where I should start. I'll do it. I'll give it a try. But if you have an idea of what season I should start on to really grasp what's going on, and same thing for anybody else like me who's never seen it. Yeah,
but the other thing I'd like to talk about is if anybody has any ideas of who should be the next Doctor.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you guys have ideas about that, drop them in. I've got a few thoughts kicking around, but, it has to be someone who's fairly prominent in the British acting scene usually. But, yeah, if anybody has an idea of who should be the next Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tom
Hiddleston.
Yep, Tom Hiddleston. That's it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Got to be him.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so let's move on. We got to get to a couple of other things here. Just another rumor. I mean, Millie Bobby Brown, I think, is kind of one of the biggest breakout stars of 2016. I think that's safe to say. MBB, as the super fans call her.
Yep.
She's 11 from Stranger Things, in case you don't know. She has now been cast in a new role. It's not the one that everybody wants her to be, which is the Princess Leia prequel, because that's not happening yet, although she'd be perfect for it. Millie Bobby Brown.
Not happening at all, as far as we know.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Yeah.
We're just going to put enough rumors out there. Maybe it'll happen. But a Godzilla sequel.
Yeah.
That's what she's going to be in. All right.
That's all right. She needs to get her teeth. She needs to cut her teeth on something that's going to be, a big budget film, and it's great to see her crossover. There's really only been one other crossover that we know of from that so far, and that's Finn Wolfhard, who plays Michael. He's going to be in the It remake.
Oh, okay.
So it's good to see these kids, because I felt like one of the strongest things about Stranger Things was the acting from the kids, and that's hard to do. So it's good to see these kids branch out. She was awesome as 11, so I'll be excited to see what she does in the new Godzilla.
Okay. Jumping through here, and sorry, we're just kind of getting through some different stuff that we've got to get to here for today's show. Sorry, I'm looking at two different things at one time. I totally stumbled right there. I usually don't do that. But if you're watching live on YouTube, go ahead and drop your comments.
You
in
can
there
cut
and
that
let
out
us
of
know.
the podcast.
Oh no, I'll let it happen. I make mistakes. So what I wanted to talk about is a show that it's actually on now, something that you can watch on HBO. And I've seen the name a lot of places, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but not a lot of people watching it.
I haven't seen it yet. I've been meaning to see it.
And I decided to sit down and watch it. And it's The Young Pope. So the new series that HBO put out starring Jude Law. I powered through. I'm like, I don't know if this is something I'm even going to be interested in, but I want to see what it's about. And if you've tried watching it, the first episode in particular is really, really weird.
And the trailer looks crazy.
The trailer's crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it's about, the premise is this. It's Jude Law is a cardinal, and he gets elected to be the new pope, which he's very young, and so that's strange, obviously, because usually the pope is a pretty old guy. He's Jude Law. There's no makeup on. He's 40-something Jude Law, and
he's not old Jude Law.
He's not old Jude Law. He's young Jude Law, and he becomes pope, and it's this mystery. It takes place in the Vatican, and they've recreated the thing that I will say it's really great about it is the scenery, and they actually recreated the Vatican office and a lot of what the inside of the Vatican looks like to make it real. And what it gets strange is there's flashbacks, there's not really flash forwards. There's him almost like he's going crazy, and what he thinks is going to happen. It's a really tough series to explain, and I can say this, it's not like any other series I can compare it to. It's definitely an original concept.
So isn't the idea that he's like sort of a hustler or something?
We
see him like smoking a cigarette and talking about like
they smoke all
it's
the
my
time
time now, baby. Like he looks like a villain, obviously.
He
in the
is
trailers.
not a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he gets elected because of a mistake on how they were doing something. He slipped through the cracks and got elected.
Okay.
And so,
which is easy to do. I've seen that happen a couple of times.
Pope's
Whoops,
here,
wrong pope.
there.
Okay, it'll
Yeah.
be fine.
But it's him, and then Diane Keaton is also another star in it. She plays kind of a mother figure for him. She's the nun when he was orphaned that he was taken into not a convent, but wherever it was, and she took care of him, basically raised him. So she's kind of his mother figure, I guess you would put confidant in a way. But once he gets power, and this is where it gets really interesting, he is completely power hungry, and he's not unlike what anybody wanted. But when you are the Pope, you're a dictator of basically your own country, and you can persuade 1 billion people to do what you want. And they're treating it as though the Pope decided to just be, no, I have power now, and this is what I'm going to do.
So basically, they're treating it like the 15th century popes.
Kind of. That's why he chose
16th century popes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. From the old days, and those guys were pretty tyrannical.
Yeah, and Drew's asking, is it super jumpy like Lost was? It's not that jumpy. It does go back and forth to showing him as a kid, because there's a whole backstory I won't give away of why he's just an angry person. Not even angry, just vindictive and smart, and knows what he can do. He knows his power.
All right, so the bottom line is, though, do you recommend it? And that's what we've been...
that's what we're getting at.
You've been trying to tell me if it's good or not.
I still don't even know if I like it. But I've watched 6 episodes, so I think I do.
You're invested.
I would recommend it because it is so different than anything else that's out there. It's worth watching just for that aspect. Whether I stick for another season, I don't know. But if it is different enough, give it a try. Give it 2 episodes. If you're not into it by then, you're definitely not going to be into it. Or you'll be like me and you'll be like, well, I guess I'll watch the next one.
I guess I'll watch some more.
I guess I'll watch another one. So there we go, The Young Pope.
All right.
I realized we're starting to run low on time. I'm sorry. I wanted to talk about The Young Pope for a second.
Yeah, no, it's a weird show. Yeah. As soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's interesting. I mean, Jude Law's awesome, so.
Well, we promised people between the cracks.
Yeah,
we're going to deliver that right now.
In these troubled times... it's nice to find something fun to watch. I mean, we should say this has been a long winter. That's why we're on Thursday. We have another ice storm coming in tomorrow in Portland. So that's why we're here on Thursday today. It's just been a long winter. It's been a long lots of things.
Well, and our Between the Cracks segment, just to explain that before you worry about covering your eyes for something, it's our segment where we talk about a movie or a television series that we think maybe was overlooked or that we want to share with you, so it's something that you can find out about that maybe you haven't heard about before.
Yes. And so the one I've chosen is a really feel-good show, and it's called Hunt for the Wilder People. And it's a really weird name. And if you missed this, it's been often characterized as a sort of Oscar snub this year. A lot of people thought this was going to get an Oscar nod.
Okay.
It did not. But it's a fantastic movie, really well written and very well acted. It's from Taika Waititi, who is the director of What We Do in the Shadows, which, in my opinion, is one of the best movies of its kind since Spinal Tap, if not the best. It's a very Spinal Tap style movie.
Yeah.
That's another one if you haven't seen it. It's
we could do that
hilarious, but it's about vampires, and it's but a Spinal Tap style to it.
Yeah.
So he's the director of that. He also will have the reins for the new Thor Ragnarok film. So he's like one of the hottest directors around. He wrote and directed this. He wrote the screenplay based on a book by Barry Crump. Basically, it's a story about this troubled kid who goes to this house, and Sam Neill is the curmudgeon-y old dude, and I love Sam Neill. He's a great actor. Everyone, you gotta love Sam Neill. And the two of them are, an odd couple. They get paired together and they end up on the run out in the woods. I don't want to give too much away, but the young actor Julian Dennison is just amazing. He has one of the most expressive faces you'll ever see. And I don't say that a lot about kid actors, but this guy really carries the movie. You think it's going to be Sam Neill, but Sam Neill's great in it, but the kid carries the movie.
The kid carries it.
He's hilarious. And it's just a fun movie. It's probably unlike anything you've seen in a while. And it's one of those sort of like heartwarmers, and I think we could all use something like that right now. So.
Hey, I'm excited for it. I want to check it out.
It's a good little flick. So it's on Hulu right now, so you can just queue it on up.
So on Hulu, Hunt for the Wilder People.
That's it.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, I am looking forward to check that out. Okay, just finally, just kind of wrap up, just because I wanted to bring this up just because I know it is Super Bowl this weekend, and we were kind of talking about it at the beginning.
Yes.
As far as, it's going to be the most watched thing. We are between the streams. We do need to talk about it, I guess, for a second.
Yes.
Super Bowl, I don't really care about the game. I don't.
You're not a Patriots or Falcons fan? Yeah.
I suppose I would be a Falcons fan if I were to choose.
Go Matt Ryan.
Yeah, go Matt Ryan. Yeah, exactly. We'll probably get some hate stuff from Brady people. But so the big thing, though, is there's a couple of other things that happen around the Super Bowl. I don't know if you heard about this. The halftime
Have you seen
performance.
this? Have you heard about this?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? What a great audience. So the halftime performance this year is going to be Lady Gaga. I'm actually looking forward to watching that. I think it's probably going to be. There's a lot of speculation right now about what she's going to do, and so I just kind of wanted to give that out. Supposedly, she might be performing on the roof of the stadium.
Whoa.
And then there's also, she may be doing something political associated with it. So I'm not going to make any commentary on that. Just saying I want to watch it just to see what's going to happen.
It'll be interesting, yeah.
It'll be interesting. So you've got that, and then a ton of commercials as usual. And there's one commercial in particular I'm looking forward to seeing. It's a live commercial that Snickers is going to be doing with Adam Driver. So I guess they're actually airing it live somehow. I don't know the whole details on it.
Yeah.
And then
of Star Wars fame.
Of Star Wars, yes, Adam Driver of Star Wars fame. Kylo Ren. So he's going to be doing that. And then you have some other commercials, of course, with big celebrities. Jason Statham and Gal Gadot are teaming up for a Wix.com commercial.
Okay.
Which who knew Wix had that kind of cash?
Yeah, it's probably a startup that has a bunch of venture capitalists.
Well,
maybe not.
Wix has been around for a while.
Okay.
They've been around for a while. It's a website development company.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a Squarespace kind of thing.
Right.
But still, they're getting their Super Bowl commercial going. John Lovitz is doing one for avocados.
Okay.
Which that's going to be good. And Nintendo has its first ever Super Bowl commercial.
Gotta love that.
So Nintendo's going to be up there. I think it's for the Switch. It's just kind of teasing that with that and everything that's about it.
More Nintendo gear that you can't buy.
Yeah, that you can't buy yet.
Yeah.
Do you watch any commercials or anything?
I'm more of a football guy than a commercial guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fun. And actually, we're going to have a post this year which shows all the best Super Bowl commercials, and it's going to be updated live.
Fantastic.
So you can check out that on DT. Even if you're not watching the game, you can check out the commercials on our site there. And you just reminded me when you said Lady Gaga on the roof. I forgot that Michael Jackson did that thing where everybody showed up on the roof, like different versions of him.
And then he
teleported to the stage.
Teleported onto the stage.
That was pretty awesome. Okay, I'll give it up for that one.
That's what I'm saying.
That was pretty great, but it's still Prince.
Performance ever.
Still Prince.
You saying Prince.
Okay.
Right. Well, let us know your thoughts below. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, put your comments in there. If you're listening via the podcast, that's fantastic. And I want to make sure everybody knows we do have the audio version of this show. You can subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher, or just type in between the streams on Google. It'll come right up, and subscribe to that. We've got tons of back episodes, both video and podcasts. So check out all that stuff. Tell your friends, share it. Follow digitaltrends.com over the weekend to watch those commercials. That's great. And all of the other things, pretty much everything that we've talked about today, there's in-depth articles on our website about it if you want to explore more. And like I said, leave some comments. Let us know. Maybe you disagree with something we said. Maybe you agree. If you have a between the cracks that you think we should watch a television series, tell us about it. Would love to find out about it. So, all right. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll be back next week with another episode.